video. So today's video is actually going to be about my career as a medical assistant. For all of you guys who are new to my channel and stumbled upon my channel, hi, my name is Jasmine. I am actually a registered nurse. I worked in the ICU for the past four years. I have to think about it. And I am also a FNP student. I've just finished my first year of my grad school program. And before any of that occurred, my life actually started out as a medical assistant. So that's what today's video is going to be about. I am going to share with you guys how I became a medical assistant, what I did as a medical assistant, and kind of how I went from medical assistant to nurse. So if you guys are interested, please continue to watch. So my medical assistant career actually started from 2007 until 2011. So for those of you who don't know, you can become a medical assistant. I did my program in about 7 months, and it was through a trade school. So trade schools are like short certification courses or classes that you can take when you really want to enter like the professional field. I graduated from high school, had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to be a nurse, but I really didn't want to go to college. I didn't have the money to go to college. I didn't have the means to go to college. I didn't know where to start. I didn't know what to do. So my local, like my hometown, had a program called Platt College, which was a vocational school. And you could do like dental assistant, medical assistant. They actually had a LPN program, but it was a year, and they had, I believe, like HVAC and some other stuff, like other different things. And I was like, okay, initially I was going to do dental assistant, and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, I actually really hate teeth. I don't like teeth. I don't like other people's teeth, and I don't even like the way the dentist smells. So I was like, that's just going to be a hard no for me. I wanted to do the LPN program, but it was super expensive at that time. And like I said, I didn't have the financial means to do it. And I went to the school, talked to like the advisor, which they're not, I don't know, they're just admissions people, and she was telling me about the medical assistant program. I met one of the instructors. She seemed really cool, and basically just told me all the stuff you can do as a medical assistant. And I was like, well, that's kind of like what I want to do as a nurse, so I'm just going to do this program. So I started the medical assistant program, I think like the next month, or maybe like 2 months after I graduated high school. And I was like, okay, like I just need to get it in and get it done. So like I said, the program was 7 months, and it actually really wasn't hard. It was not a hard program whatsoever. The only thing that I really didn't like to do was the ICD-9 coding, which is now ICD-10, but medical billing and coding was not something that I was interested in doing, and I thought it was super boring, and I just did not like doing it. So with the program that I did, we actually got certified in medical billing and coding. I was a certified medical assistant, and I was also a certified phlebotomy technician, which was super cool to have 3 certifications in 7 months as a 17 just turned 18-year-old. I was like, oh yes honey, I am doing it. You hear me? Like I was so excited. And I was like, at that time I think minimum wage was like $5.25. That tells y'all how old I am. But I was not about making minimum wage. I was just like, no, I want something. I have a son. I need something where I'm going to be paid a little bit more and I can survive outside of my mom's house. I finished the program. We did a lot of like blood draws on each other, a lot of like sub-Q injections on each other. A lot of people's programs I think has veered away from that and are using dummies, because even to this day, like in nursing school and stuff, IV starts and things like that, we do it on mannequins, dummy arms, dummy like little circles. We don't really do it on each other anymore, but at that time that's what we did. And in order to qualify for my phlebotomy technician certification, I actually had to bring people in to make sure that I got a certain amount of draws. Like you had to do a certain amount of butterflies and a certain amount of venipunctures. And I just brought family, friends, my husband, well, my boyfriend at the time, but my husband now. I brought him in, I brought his family in, I brought my family in. Like people, don't let me see somebody walking on the street like, come over here, come here real quick. Like I was just in there hustling. Before we could do it on anybody else, we had to do it on our instructors, which was super intimidating because, I mean, who wants to miss a blood draw on their instructor? I didn't. So the program was not hard at all, and I ended up doing my internship at a internal medicine office, and I just so happened to get scheduled with a very difficult doctor. I thought he was super dope, but everybody was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you got Dr. B. That's what I'm gonna call him. That's not his name, but I don't want to put his name out there because I think he still practices. But they was like, I cannot believe you got Dr. B, and oh my gosh, I heard he is super hard. He actually had a PA working with him at the time, and I didn't even know what a PA was. So when I started working with her, I thought she was a doctor. It was just him and her. They were the only two who saw patients in the office. And when I tell you, he was running his patients in there like cattle. Like, our appointments were scheduled out for every 10 minutes, and some of them he would legit not even take the whole 10 minutes to see. And then with our every 10-minute schedules, we also did Chantix, smoking cessation sessions, and we were a PTINR, like where you can come in and get your levels checked. So I was doing all that as a student. Like, he was letting me give the like educational classes, put the videos in and do that. I was also seeing patients. I was doing medication reconciliation. He wasn't comfortable with me like giving injections, like giving any kind of shots or anything like that. So I didn't get to do that as far as a student. Before I finished all of my internship hours, he actually offered me a position once I successfully finished school, because there was no like certification exam at the end. You just had to pass all of your classes, but there was not like an exit exam. There was nothing like NCLEX. There was no type of boards. It was just, you finish the program, you meet all of your hours, you meet all of your requirements for like your venipunctures and your ICD-9 coding and stuff, and then you were done, like you graduated. I was super proud of myself, and I was super excited. I got offered a job without even like doing an interview, and I was like, yes. But a lot of people's like, he offers everybody a job because no one works for him for a very long time, and he is difficult to work with. But I didn't have any issues for him, and I was like, y'all, a job is a job. I got a whole son at home to take care of. Like, I'm not worried about what other people saying. I ended up working for him as soon as I graduated. I literally like started hospital orientation, I think like 2 to 3 weeks after I graduated from school. And yeah, I was basically doing the same thing that I did when I was in school. So I would call the patients back, get them into the room, height, weight, all of their vital signs, and they would literally bring in tons and tons of medications. So then I would do medication reconciliation. So I would take all of their pills or their insulin pens, whatever, and just write, either if they were a new patient, I would write all of their meds down, the dosage, how often they take them, and how many refills that they had currently on the bottle. So I would just let him know if there's any medications that he would need to put refill orders in on. So they would come in there, I would chart. We did a lot of mini mental examinations. So we did like to see if they had dementia or Alzheimer's. We did a lot of that. We did a lot of vision screenings. I did a lot of ear irrigations. That is one of the things I remember so vividly. I don't know why, but a lot of old people would come into the office, and they would have just impaction, like earwax impaction. It was just so much. And we would it was my job to irrigate. So there were, I believe I worked with about 5 medical assistants, and then we had 1 LPN and no RNs in the office. The LPN was basically like our supervisor, I guess you could say. She was kind of over us. If there was anything that we weren't allowed to do, she did it. But most of the stuff in the office we were allowed to do. So I would help with the pap smears. I would like the setup with it. Now I'm going to touch on a little bit why I chose a medical assistant versus a certified nurse's aide. However, I just knew I did not want to work in a nursing home, and I knew that I did not want to work in a hospital as an aide. I had a best friend at the time that was a nursing assistant in a nursing home, and she would come home smelling like, oh my gosh, the worst, because she didn't live with me, but she low-key kind of lived with me, because her actual home was kind of far, and So she would just like get off of work and crash at my house, and then we would go to school together in the morning. And like I said, we were like best friends. So like I just loved her. So she basically stayed at my house. And yeah, I just did not like how she smelled when she came home. And then she would tell me all the stuff that she had to do and all the like manual labor she had to do. And I was just like, no, sis, that's not for me. And it just wasn't. I just did not do it, and I didn't have anything against it. I just didn't want to do it. That's like, being a CNA is hard work, and I was like, no, I would rather not do that. So that's why I chose medical assistant over a CNA. So the last thing I'm going to touch bases on is if being a medical assistant helped with my pre-nursing courses or getting into nursing school. And I can tell you that as far as school-wise, it did not help me. All of the classes that I took for a medical assistant, none of those crossed over to give me credit for undergrad classes or undergrad hours. It just does not work like that. So if you are thinking about becoming a medical assistant before becoming a nurse, I would definitely say that you're still going to have to do all of your undergrad classes. I wouldn't say not to do it because I really enjoyed doing it. I'm just going to say it doesn't help as far as any of your undergrad classes. You are still responsible for every undergrad class that you take. As far as like some of your skills checkoffs in nursing school, I would say that it definitely did help. Like as far as like knowing how to take manual blood pressures, knowing how to do all of your vital signs, knowing how to do your height and weight, and knowing how to do like vision screens. Like those are things that I had been doing for years at that time, so I was not even nervous to do checkoffs on that. I was just like, okay, let's get it over and done with because I've done this a million times. I remember checking apical pulse was a skill that we had to get checked off in school, and I was just like, oh my gosh, seriously, you guys are making me do a skills check off of this? But it was something that, like I said, I had been doing for a very long time. So it was something that I felt was super easy, but other people were freaking out about it, and it's because they had never been exposed to it. I would say that being a medical assistant did help in that aspect. So as far as being a nurse, it is two completely, totally different worlds, because I was like, if I can be a medical assistant, I can be a registered nurse. Like, me being a medical assistant and my LPN, like, we do all the same things. Like, you don't. You really don't. And that was definitely my thought process. I was very much so like, in a clinic, we do the same thing. Like, she is an LPN and I am a medical assistant, and we do the same thing, which we did. But outside of that clinic, it is not the same thing. And even certain things that LPNs do that they are like, that is the same thing that a registered nurse do. It's really not. Like, there's some boundaries, and that's why there's a difference in your job titles from medical assistant to an LPN to a registered nurse. There's reasons why your categories are different, and it's not the same thing. And that's why I'm like, I was guilty, because I was like, if I can be a medical assistant, I can be a nurse. Sis, it was hard. And it is two totally different things. As far as like actually being a nurse, it didn't help me with anything. And I don't want to put it off to the fact that I was a medical assistant in a clinic and now I'm a registered nurse in the ICU. And those are two totally different, like, things. Those are two totally different areas of care. And it helped me absolutely none as far as what I do as a nurse now. I definitely say, as far as when I first became a new grad, having medical assistant on my resume made it look really good for me, and a lot of people like that. I did have experience, some kind of medical experience prior to becoming a nurse, and I can tell you that it did allow me to get more money as a new grad. The new grad hourly rate is just set. And then I actually got credit for being a medical assistant for those years, and it allowed my hourly pay to be a little bit more than what people that came out of school with no experience. So that's why there's a lot of people that you will see that works as aides, they work as CNAs, or they will work as patient care techs in the ED before finishing nursing school completely, just because it allows you to get a little bit more an hour as far as your pay once you, are fresh as a nurse. So that is it as far as my medical assistant journey and career. I really did enjoy it. I would highly recommend it to those of you who actually really don't know what you want to do, and if you are kind of on the fence of, I kind of want to be in the medical field, I kind of don't, like, I don't know. It'll give you some exposure to kind of what it's like to work in a clinic and be exposed to medicine. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to leave it below in the comment section. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave and turn on the notification button so that way YouTube will tell you every single time I post a video. Make sure to also go follow me on Instagram because I always post when I am uploading a new video on there as well. And don't forget to boss up and conquer. Mwah.